What is going on, guys? Jason Burke here, Styles Clash for Life, coming at you on YouTube, and today I've got some football focus. I'm sorry I'm a day late. I didn't do this video yesterday when the game aired, but I've been really tired from shooting a movie this weekend and releasing my second book at a book release party this weekend. So I'm coming at you guys one day late with football focus. I'm covering yesterday's matchup between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cleveland Browns. Pittsburgh ending the four-game losing streak, finally getting back on track. I've got to give them a lot of credit today because I excoriated them last week. I mean, over 200 of you guys have watched that video. There's like 210 views on my video last week of Steelers versus Cowboys. So if you guys want to go back and watch any of my previous reviews, rankings, or Steeler game reviews, go back and check those out. The one from last week is very famous now. It's getting a lot of feedback about how I tore the defense a new butthole, so to speak. I went off on the defense for not playing, for giving up 35 points last week. And they answered in kind this week. This was a much-needed bounce-back game. Not getting too far ahead of ourselves. It only was against the Cleveland Browns. Again, when you're playing the worst team in the league, you're expected to win. But Pittsburgh did win this game. Final score 24-9. They did improve to 5-5. And Baltimore lost yesterday, which means we are now tied atop the AFC North. So we're back. All is right with the world. Back on top of the division with Baltimore. We're playing them again soon. So very, very interesting game here. Kind of just paint by numbers. Pittsburgh had, in the first half, they had 4 drives, and 3 of them were 10-plus play drives. They dominated time of possession in the first half, like 25-10 or something like that. Totally just controlled the ball the entire time. I think out of those 4 10-play plus drives, I think like 3 of them were like 9-plus minutes. So the Steelers just totally held the ball the entire time. This was the Le'Veon Bell show on offense. Stat-wise, Roethlisberger was a very paltry, very quiet, 23 of 36 for 167 yards, no touchdowns. So under 200 yards, no touchdown passes. Quiet day for Roethlisberger, nothing special here. But he did the job. He didn't turn the ball over. He was conservative, but he did enough. Le'Veon Bell was the big dominating guy here. He gets the game ball on offense for this game. 28 carries, 146 yards, and a touchdown on the ground, plus another 8 catches, 55 yards through the air. So, literally, I think on the first drive, he had 75 yards total. 75 of the Steelers' 79 yards or something like that. Again, I didn't write this down, but he wound up with all but 7 or 8 of the Steelers' yards on the first drive. Already had over 70 yards in the first quarter. Accounted for the largest part of the offense. Antonio Brown, 8 catches for 76 yards, mostly just short slants and screen passes. Didn't do a whole lot down the field. Had a couple nice comeback routes. He did beat Joe Hayden on a couple of in-cuts and stuff like that. He played a pretty solid game. Nothing special, but solid by standards. A couple short catches for Eli Rogers here. Again, nothing special. Quiet day from Jesse James. Quiet day from Latavius Green. Who else was... There wasn't much to speak of. Sammy Coates really only played special teams. He didn't do much. If he was out there on the field, I didn't see him on offense. But again, Le'Veon Bell accounts for over 200 total yards and a touchdown. That's all we really needed from him. It was just literally screen to Bell, run the ball to Bell, out of the backfield to Bell. It was just very much a Le'Veon Bell offensive game. Defensively, you see they only allowed 9 points. That was one field goal from the Browns and 1 touchdown with a missed extra point. So the Browns finished with 9 points. They do score a touchdown in the fourth quarter, which was Josh McCown to Gary Barnidge for the touchdown. Cody Kessler, the starting quarterback, got injured on a Lawrence Timmons hit in, I think, the third quarter, and McCown came in. They did, like I said, get 1 touchdown to bring it within 7. Then the defense scored a touchdown to put it out of reach for the 24-9 final score. Defensively, I smashed these guys last week, and I talked a lot of crap, and so I've got to give a lot of praise, to be fair, this week. So many guys stood out. I wrote some stuff down here. Ryan Shazier is just another level player. With Cam Hayward being out for the season, Ryan Shazier is by far our best player on defense. He's elite. When he's healthy out there, I've said it before, he's got all the tools, and he can be a top 3 linebacker in the NFL when he's playing a consistent 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks in a row. If he stays on the field, this guy is a mammoth. He is a god among men out there on defense. Finished with 6 tackles in this game, a sack, and a forced fumble, which resulted in the Pittsburgh Steelers go-ahead touchdown. He was just all over the place, blowing up screens, getting in the backfield. He only got credit for 1 sack, but he also had about 3 or 4 quarterback hits out there. He's just so fast to the ball. He defended a couple of over-the-middle passes to Barnidge. A few passes defensed. He did get the forced fumble on the strip sack in the end zone on Josh McCown. He was just a beast in this game. He does what he does when he's healthy. All around the ball, blowing up plays in the backfield, just making a big difference. Mike Mitchell didn't do much of note in terms of stat-wise, but he had a lot of huge hits. Yesterday was probably his best game as a Steeler. He knocked a lot of balls loose. He was knocking guys like crazy. He knocked the wind out of Pryor at one point. He had 4 or 5 big hits across the middle, causing him drop balls, so he played a pretty solid game, despite not being what we expected when we signed him, but he played pretty well yesterday. Where are we at? Lawrence Timmons had a huge game. He was credited for 1 sack, but I think he got in there about 3 times on assists. So he got 1 full sack, but he actually got another 2 assisted sacks. He was huge. Also forced a fumble that was reversed because of penalty. He caused a fumble at the end of the game, which Sean Davis picked up and ran back for a touchdown. So the score could have been 31-9, but it was called back on a penalty. So Timmons, again, I think he had 5 tackles, had a sack here as well, and he was back to his old self. He's been kind of quiet this season and not been what he used to be, but he had a huge game yesterday. Big hits, solid in coverage, got in the backfield several times and disrupted a lot of plays. So he was big and came back strong. Stephon Tuitt was probably our best player yesterday. Huge day for him. 2.5 sacks for him. He did what Cam Hayward usually does and more. I could see teams starting to double team him. I think this was his best game as a Steeler. His penetration all day was just insane. Pittsburgh finished with like 7 or 8 sacks yesterday. I think we only had 8 sacks all season long coming into yesterday's game. Being ranked, I think either last or second to last in sacks all season, and we doubled our total yesterday with 8 sacks. Huge day, huge pressure. Tuitt got 2.5 sacks, and he got about 3 or 4 more pressures in the backfield as well. Huge day for him. Arthur Moats, one of his better games as a Steeler, 1.5 sacks. Got in there several times in the backfield, made plays on the end. Good job for him. Javon Hargrave also got a sack yesterday, and also got a fumble recovery for a touchdown on the Ryan Shazier forced fumble. So Hargrave finishes with several good pressures, played a really outstanding game as a rookie, a sack, a fumble recovery, and a touchdown. Artie Burns got his second pick in 3 weeks. So far now in 3 starts, Artie Burns has 2 interceptions. Nice play early on. Actually could have had a second interception. He had 1 in his chest that he dropped at the end of the game, so should have had 2. But either way, he gets 1 here, has 2 in 3 weeks. Sean Davis also gets a couple tackles, makes a few plays, does get a fumble recovery for a long run back touchdown that was called back. So he's been playing a lot more downs and playing pretty solid in there. Burns and Davis are still getting beat a little bit. Their techniques are causing penalties. Davis still needs help on the back end, and Burns has still got to watch the face guarding and getting beat across the middle. But both guys played very solid yesterday, and deservedly so. Get the credit they deserve here. For Cleveland, there's not much of note. Terrell Pryor did finish with 6 catches for 94 yards or something in that neighborhood. Other than that, not much to speak of. So Pittsburgh bounces back big here. Le'Veon Bell carries the offense. The linebackers and defensive line play big on defense. All 3 rookies, Hargrave, Davis, and Artie Burns, all playing pretty good minutes, all making plays, all contributing turnovers and touchdowns. Good for these guys. So what'd you guys think of Browns versus Steelers? We're now 5-5, tied for the division. What'd you guys think of yesterday's game? What are your impressions? Tell me in the comments down below. And until next time, guys, it's been Football Focus, and I will see y'all soon.